Good evening everyone. Andarki namaskaram. Ivalti mana Vidya Shakti class ki andarki swagatam. So today we are meeting in our 8th grades English class. I welcome you all for today's session. So andaru ela unnaru? Hope you all had a great day. So morning nunchi meer andaru chala busy ga undi untaru kada with your classes, exam preparation, extracurricular activities, etc. So now we will have a small session of our English class. Okay na? So ఇవాళటి మన ఇంగ్లీష్ క్లాస్ లో ఏం నేర్చుకోబోతున్నామో చూద్దాము. So as I always say, before we begin our class, we always start our class with a motivational speech, some interesting facts or some puzzles or quiz అలాంటి వాటితో మన క్లాస్ ని మనము స్టార్ట్ చేస్తాం. సో ఇవాళ కూడా I'm going to present a small quiz. Let me share my screen. So ఈ quiz ki answers మీరు మీ chat box లో రాయొచ్చు. Okay, so as you all are in 8th grade, I'm expecting you all to make use of the chat box with the help of your teachers and enter the answers. If మీకు అది accessible గా లేదు అన్నప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చేయాలి, ఆన్సర్స్ ని నోట్బుక్ లో రాసి ఆ ఆన్సర్ కరెక్టా కాదా అని you can check. Okay, so for now I'm sharing the screen and we will see what interesting things we are going to learn. So I can see that many of you have logged in and yes, so I will shortly start the quiz. Okay na? So all the very best. So I'm sure that you will have a great learning. As we always tell, please carry a notebook and pen to the session so that you can make a note of the important points, important content that we are going to learn. Okay, so once again, a very warm welcome to all the 8th grade children. So let's begin our today's session with a small quiz. Okay na? So start chedamu. Okay, so initially questions konni easy ga untayi, you can guess them, and at some point you will have to think a little. Okay, so yes, student, what is the first question? I'll read the question for you. If all cats are animals and all animals need food, what do cats need? Option A, food. Option B, water only. Option C, milk only. Option D, sleep only. So A, B, C, D options you can choose and enter in the chat box, or you can make a note in your notebooks. Okay, so yes, I am guessing the answer as food. Question is sloga chadvandi so that you will know what the answer is. Which is the odd one out? What is odd one out? E group ki chendanidedi. Which does not belong to this group? Pen, ruler, eraser, chair. And the answer is chair. Kada pen, ruler, eraser ivanni stationary. Chair is not the stationary item. You won't use it in your schools while writing and all. You don't use it. Okay. Next question. A train leaves at 2 p.m. and arrives 3 hours later. When does it arrive? It leaves at 2 p.m. and arrives 3 hours later. Okay, and I'm guessing the answer as 5 p.m. Yes, and that's right. 2 p.m. and it takes 3 hours until 5 p.m. Which number does not belong? Does not belong until does not belong to this specific category. Okay, 9, 27, 16, 25. A, B, C, and D. So what is the guess here? Let's see the numbers 9, 16 and 25. They are perfect squares. 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25. 27 is not a perfect square. So this does not belong to this group. Okay, now next question. Which comes first alphabetically? Alphabetically, in the order of A to Z, which word comes first is what they are asking. Elephant, dog, cat, fish. Okay, so alphabetically, because C comes first, this word comes first. Okay, na? So chat box lo enter cheyandi meelo entamandi correct answer rasaro nenu chustanu malli. If one book costs rupees 4, how much do 3 books cost? This is very simple. Okay, most of you might have entered the right answer as rupees 12. So these were the quiz questions. Okay, now, so let me see the chat box on how many of you have answered or how many of you have guessed the answers right. Yes, food and rasaro option C, chair, A, C, APRS, UB, Guntur, 5 p.m. CSM High School. Okay, 12 అని రాశారు. Very good. Some of you have voice issue. Let us check from our end also. Okay, so all these, most of you have entered the answers right, which is very, very good. Okay, now let's start with our today's.
No, you are in mute.
Okay, am I audible now? So I'll share the
Recording
screen.
has been resumed.
Okay, we will share the screen now. Yes. So once again, I repeat. So in the last class, we have been learning about punctuation. Kada? So we started learning about full stop, question mark, exclamation. These all we have started learning. And I'm sure most of you have made a note of the punctuations that we have learned and few example sentences and paragraphs that we used for learning them. Okay, now because we have solved a couple of quizzes also last week. So in this week, in today's session, we will learn a new punctuation, which is parenthesis or round brackets. Okay, so this will be our main focus. But let me quickly revise about what we have learned in our last class. Okay, na? So to begin with, మనం ఎలా స్టార్ట్ చేసాము? We started learning about full stop. Why do we use a full stop? Yes, full stop is the most common punctuation that we see in all the sentences and paragraphs. So full stop is used at the end of the sentence like this. For example, when you want to end the sentence, say, I went to the park. Then you will end the sentence using the full stop. Okay? And then our next punctuation is question mark. Question mark is used when you want to ask a question. The sentence that you are using while making that question, you end it with a question mark. It is used at the end of the question. For example, where are you going? This is a question, right? Student, I'm sharing a clearer, we'll take one by one, and in that, now we will see what the question mark is about. So question mark is used at the end of a question. For example, where are you going? That is a question, and it ends with the question mark. Right? So you all know full stop is used at the end of the sentence. Question mark is used at the end of the question. Okay? And next comes the exclamation mark. When do you use an exclamation? Exclamation is used to show a strong feeling or a surprise. అంటే మనం ఆశ్చర్యంగా ఉన్నప్పుడు మనము we have to express that feeling. How do we express? ఇలాంటి ఒక సింబల్ తో. This is called exclamation. Exclamation mark అంటాం. Wow, that is amazing. So, wow, అది ఒక exclamation, that is amazing. And that also you have to end with an exclamation because it is showing a strong feeling or surprise. Okay? Now, let us see the next punctuation, which is comma. Comma ఎప్పుడు యూజ్ చేస్తాం మనము? Yes, comma is used to separate words or phrases. For example, if you are talking about 2 or 3 things, if you want to say, I have a pen, a pencil, and a book, because these are 2-3 different things, you use a comma. Okay? So comma is used to separate words or things. So this basic understanding of these punctuations we already learned in our last class. Okay, so next comes the quotation marks. When do you use the quotation marks? Ila chudandi. She said, what did she say? I am happy today. She said. Then you are giving a comma. Comma enduku? Why we have to give a comma here? Because you are taking a pause. Okay, so then you use a comma, and now whatever she has said, you will put it in the quotation marks. I am happy today. Okay, so this is how quotation marks are used. Then comes the apostrophe. Why do you use an apostrophe? Konni words kila paina chustam mana. Riya's book. So we use apostrophe for showing possession. Possession ante enti? Tana yokka, na yokka ane words untayi kada. In that place, we use apostrophe. For example, this is Riya's book. This is Rahul's ball. Okay? This is Ram's desk. Annappudu, you will use an apostrophe above the name. Ila Ram ani rasi. Then you will use an apostrophe. And then to show possession, you will use apostrophe and S. Okay? Sometimes it is used to indicate the missing letters. For example, I can't go now. I cannot go now. Ni short form lo manamu I can't go now and rastam. This apostrophe on the top above N represents the missing letters. Okay? I don't, I cannot, I can't. Ala rastam kada. Then an apostrophe on the top shows the missing letters. As I already told you, in today's class, we will focus on this punctuation, which is called as parenthesis, round brackets అంటాం. ఇలాంటి brackets మీరు చూసుంటారు కదా. That is what we are going to learn today. Okay, we will see what examples are used while writing the round brackets, which is otherwise called as parenthesis. Okay, so before we start, we will see a small word wall quiz with the content that we have already learned. Okay. Okay, so now you have to guess the punctuation that we use here. Okay, ikkada choose the correct punctuation ani rasaru, and this is your sentence. I like cats. What do you use? I like cats ane sentence pakana. What punctuation will you use? Will you use a colon, question mark, full stop, comma? A, B, C, D. So I like cats is a sentence that ends with a full stop. Okay, next. Children, choose the correct punctuation. What is the next question we have? Where are you going? Now, how do you use this? Which punctuation will you use here? Question mark, semicolon, full stop, comma. Where are you going is a question, so you use a question mark. Next question, children. Yes, I bought, ikkada nunchi start avutundi. Choose the correct punctuation. I bought apples. Bought apples. Oranges. Oranges pakana there is a comma, and pears. So what do you use? These are different items. I bought apples, oranges, and pears. Does it end with a question mark, a comma, full stop, or a colon? You will use a comma. Okay, na? Next question. Which sentence needs a question mark? Which sentence needs a question mark? We went home. I'm fine. How are you? She runs fast. Which among these sentences will end with a question mark? A, B, C, and D. I'm guessing the answer as C. How are you? It's a question, so it should end with the question mark. Next, which sentence needs a full stop? Where are we? What is that? Did you go? The dog barked. So, these 4 sentences low. Which sentence needs a full stop? It is the dog barked. All other sentences are questions. They end with the question mark. The dog barked sentence ends with a full stop. Okay. Now, which sentence needs a comma? Stop now. Are you ready? It is sunny. Red, blue, green. A, B, C, D. Try to guess the correct answer. So the last one, which is option D, needs a comma. Red tarvata comma, blue tarvata kuda comma untayi. Okay. So this needs a comma. I hope most of you might have guessed the answers right. Now, let's continue to learn about the punctuations. Yes, as I told you, today we are going to learn about this important punctuation. We call it brackets, parenthesis antam. So, ila rounded brackets ni we call it parenthesis. There are different kinds of brackets kada. Some are flower braces antamu. Some are in math and computers you use a flower bracket. Okay, and there is square bracket also. So there are different types of brackets that you see. You call them flower braces, square bracket, and this particular bracket you call it as parenthesis. Okay, so let's see how we use them. So the parenthesis is used to add extra information in a sentence. Extra information ante enti? For example, if you are using a sentence like this, my brother ani rasi, my brother is coming tomorrow ani rayalanunnar sentence. However, you want to add some extra information about your brother. Okay, so dani you can include in this parenthesis or brackets. See here, my brother who lives in Pune. This is the additional information. This additional information is written in parenthesis. My brother who lives in Pune is coming tomorrow. మనము చదివేటప్పుడు my brother is coming tomorrow. If you read like that, it is sufficient. This bracket is for your understanding. You will not always read the part of the sentence that is enclosed in the bracket. However, it is used to give additional information, extra information. My brother who lives in Pune is coming tomorrow. Okay, so this additional information about your brother is written in this bracket. So what is the additional information here? Who lives in Pune. This is giving more details about your brother. Endukante these brackets are always used to add that extra information to make the sentences or content more meaningful. Okay, it is an easier way to understand the sentence that you have written. Now we will see what other brackets we have. So as I mentioned, this is another sentence that is using parenthesis. My brother who lives in Chennai, student, this is an additional information, is visiting us this weekend. But చదివేటప్పుడు my brother is visiting us this weekend. అలా చదివితే చాలు. Okay, and then here comes the square bracket. So let's see what is the use of the square bracket. This is used to add explanation or clarification to quoted text. Quoted text అంటే కోట్స్ లో ఉంటుంది కదా, ఇలాంటి కోట్స్ లో ఉన్న సెంటెన్సెస్ లో we will use the square brackets. She welcomed the guest. ఇక్కడ you want to give additional information about who that she is. Then you are enclosing about who that she is in a square bracket. But this entire thing is a part of the quoted text. Quoted text lopala unna sentences lo we use this square bracket. Gurtupeట్టుకోవాలి. She welcomed the guest. Okay, this entire sentence is in square bracket. Here you are adding additional information or explanation about who this she is. She ante ikkada the principal. She welcomed the guests. If you want to give any additional information inside a quoted text, you should use square bracket. Now, if you use rounded brackets or parentheses, it is wrong. Inside quoted text, it is always square brackets. Okay, now let's move on to the curly brackets. What does this curly brackets do? Curly brackets are not commonly used in English. They are used in maths or computers. Computer languages నేర్చుకునేటప్పుడు మ్యాథ్స్ లో మనము ఫ్లవర్ బ్రాకెట్స్ ని కర్లీ బ్రాకెట్స్ ని యూజ్ చేస్తాం. So these curly brackets are mostly used in math or computer science. For example, if you want to refer to a set A, అనగానే whatever comes inside that set, you will write using the curly brackets. 2, 4, 6, 8, set of whole numbers, set of integers, అన్నిటిని కూడా we always write in curly brackets. Okay, na? So the round brackets or the parenthesis is used to add extra or additional information. Then here next comes the square brackets. Why do we use the square brackets? Square brackets are used to add the information inside a quoted text, right? Then comes your curly braces, which is mostly used in the field of maths and computers. Okay, na? So now you have learned about different types of brackets. Okay, so one additional information you all have to understand about these brackets. After this, we will solve one quiz. So parenthesis ki ఇంకొక significance కూడా ఉంది. ఏంటి అంటే you can use them for abbreviations. For example, ఇక్కడ the United Nations bracket లో UN అని రాశారు. This is an abbreviation, short form. Okay, works for world peace. So United Nations యొక్క abbreviated form ni UN is written in parenthesis, the rounded brackets. He scored 95%. So 95% ఇక్కడ సింబల్ కదా ఇది, దీన్ని 95% అని text form లో they have mentioned. Okay, so it is used for abbreviations. Then comes the next one. Hyderabad is a beautiful city. So Hyderabad ki short form, abbreviated form చూడండి ఇలా రాయవచ్చు. Okay, yes. So this is one additional point that you have to remember about parenthesis. Now comes one more important point. For example, if you are using one whole sentence inside the parenthesis, the sentence అన్నప్పుడు దానికి ఒక full stop ఉంటుంది కదా, then you have to end that full stop also inside the parenthesis. He stayed home yesterday is what you wanted to write. However, you want to add an additional information about why you stayed home yesterday. We stayed home yesterday. It was raining heavily. Adi mee reason to stay at home yesterday. Now, this full stop is also ending inside the parenthesis. Chudandi. Okay, closely you have to observe these sentences. Ee sentence ki full stop ikkada end ayipoyindi. You want to give a supporting additional information in the parenthesis, and that is a full sentence. It's not just a word, it's a whole sentence. So you have to end the sentence using a full stop. Okay, now? Then, next example. She could not come to school. That is your sentence. Again, here also you want to give a complete thought or an additional information in the parenthesis about the reason. She was not feeling well. That is the reason that you want to give. So that is inside the parenthesis, and the full stop is also inside. You cannot put it outside. This becomes wrong. Okay, baita undaradu full stop. It has to be inside. Ila undali. Ila baita undadu. Okay, so these 2 points you have to remember. Now we will see a small quiz, and then after that quiz, you will solve the quiz. Okay, now, children. Yes. So the first question for you is, why do parentheses usually, what do parentheses do usually in a sentence? What is the use of parentheses in a sentence? Yes, A, B, C, D. End a question, join clauses, show shouting, add extra information. It adds extra information. Next question. Now you observe and answer in the chat box. Which marks are parentheses? This one. Next. sentence uses parenthesis correctly? Close the observe chesi, read the sentence carefully and then mark the answer. Then mention the answer in the chat box. So here you're talking about your brother who plays basketball. Yes. So my brother plays basketball. Then how is your brother? My brother, the tallest one. This is the additional information that you're giving. Plays basketball. Next. What kind of information often goes inside parenthesis? We give extra details inside the parenthesis. Next, choose the correct sentence with correct punctuations. Choose a sentence with correct punctuation. The trip was cancelled. Why was it? When was it planned? The trip planned for June. This is the additional information. But while you read, you will read it like this. The trip was cancelled. But you will understand that the trip that was planned for June was cancelled. Planned for June is the additional information that you are adding inside the parenthesis. Next. Parenthesis can be used to show abbreviations. Chusam kada manamu, parenthesis can be used for showing the abbreviations. For example, United Nations and unte bracket lo you will mention as UN. The last one, if a whole sentence is inside parenthesis, where can the full stop go? We just saw. If the whole sentence is inside the parenthesis, where can the full stop go? It is always inside the parenthesis. Okay. Now, this is the understanding of parenthesis, square brackets, and curly brackets. Ippudu, I want you all to join the Kahoot quiz. Okay. Last week, I think we solved few questions. You all have to open your browser and type kahoot.it and type check. KAHOOT.it అని టైప్ చేసి ఎంటర్ క్లిక్ చేయాలి. So you all have to enter this pin 382482. Sorry, 382484 is your pin. Carefully see the screen and enter. Okay, now let's start the quiz. Few of you can still join. Carefully read the questions and answer. Taj Mahal, built in 1632, is beautiful. Very good. Let's move on to our next question. Yeah, you use rounded parenthesis in this sentence. Very good. Let's move on to our next question. Curly brackets, curly braces are used to very good. Most of you have answered this question right. Very good. Quoted text. This is a quoted text. Yes. So you will just write the name inside the square bracket. Rahul. Okay. అక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ స్క్వేర్ బ్రాకెట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. Quoted text. Which brackets should come? Very good. Wonderful. Last question. Yes, very good. So sentence ki manam additional information add chestunnamo, but we don't read the extra part. It is just an additional information. Right? Let's now see the scoreboard. Yes. Third place lo Ramkri. Second place lo MCHS. First place lo wonderful JHS Sompet. Very good. And many participants. That was an active participation from 8th grade. I'm sure most of you might have entered the answers right. Kada? So whoever answers it quickly, their score goes higher. Right? So that was an active participation from grade 8. Very good. It was a very nice session. So this was a session on parenthesis. So next week lo manamu how colon and semicolon are used alantivi topics chudam. Okay, this is just a sample sentence. You can just read to understand how the brackets are incorporated in a paragraph. Paina unna paragraph lo there is no punctuation, and in the paragraph that is below, yes, this is 1 and this is 2 unquote. In 1 there is no punctuation used. Not at all. Here they have used the punctuations. So children, how the meaning, how the way you understand changes. Today we visited the Science Museum. Full stop. Then again, uppercase letters you have to start with. Our teacher gave us 3 instructions. These 3 instructions are a list. So you will use this colon. Kada? 2 dots. What are the 3 instructions she gave? Stay together, comma, listen carefully, comma, and follow the guide. The sentence ends there, so you are using a full stop. My friend Arjun now asked many questions everyone. Adi chalu. So this who loves science can go inside the bracket, inside parenthesis. My friend Arjun asked many questions. Everyone enjoyed the trip. This colon and semicolon, we will take it forward next week. Here you understand how full stop, comma, and parenthesis are being used. Okay, na? So you can make a note. And this was a session on punctuations. So we used punctuations like full stop, question mark, comma. And in today's class, especially we learned about parenthesis, which was like few of them were this rounded brackets, the curly braces, and the square brackets. Okay, na? Thank you all for joining today's session. Jai Vidya Shakti. Jai Hind. Thank you.